Aya is a place called Nukutaurua. And then you go out to, I don't know where you've been out to Onenui. Have you been out there? No. Tawapara? Well, out on the peninsula, they had, and it's the same tribe, a sub-tribe of Kahungunu, and it was called Ngati Hikairo, and it's named after this fellow, Hikairo, and he's got a crayfish there.
Okay.
And it represents, if nobody knew who it was and they came in and they know their genealogy around it, they'd say, oh, ko Hikairo tēnā, that must be Hikairo, because, you know, he was famous. And there was a proverb that came from him. He was, they said he was a nice, stout little guy. No, he wasn't little, he was big, but he was the chief of the people out there. Mm-hmm. And he was striding along the cliffs past where Aya lives, and where our sister's son drowned out that way, you know. But he was out past White Rock and there. And there was a raiding party coming from Gisborne across the bay, and they could see this plumpish sort of guy standing up there on the cliff, walking along. They said, oh, tonight you're going to be in our hangi. We're going to eat you. And so he turned around and said, he mana ko he kaura, e kore ai. You can't eat a crayfish until you've caught it. Don't, you know, in other words, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And so that proverb has lived here since that time, because they didn't get him. He ate them. And apparently down at Taupa, just past where Aya lives, there's some rocks, and that's the story they told me when they took me down there. I went with their husband and my other brother-in-law and my brother, and we went down, and they said, oh, that's where that battle took place in Hokkaido. See those rocks over there? They're black, they're sooted. And he said, those ones they used for the hangi. That was their story. But anyway, that's the proverb here. And in the olden days, they don't do it now. They're very disrespectful of the sea or anything like that. And in the olden days, if you were going to go to the beach to go get kaimon or get seafood, and if I said to you, oh, I'm hungry for some kina, or I'm hungry for some crayfish, bring me back some, you'd turn around and go home, because I'd put the kibosh on you, you know, because here's these ones anticipating a feed, and they got done, and they. So this is Hikairo, and it was carved by an uncle of ours. He'd been in the Second World War, Oliphant Mackay, and he'd married on some of the Elkingtons. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a good Mormon and had a big family, and they lived out at Mahia. So he graduated, and he carved this one.
Who
and
did?
Uncle Ollie Mackay. You didn't know that?
I don't know anything here, just write it down.
Oh, he's got it on film anyway, so you can bet.
He's going home.
That's all right, you can get down on your knees and he'll send you a CD.
We'll share the notes.
No, you can send it to me too.
Yes, I would love to.
Because my son's been trying to get me to do that all the time. But that's Hikairo. And that was one of the carvings that was really named because he'd become not an apprentice anymore. He'd become tohunga whakairo, and a tohunga, a priest of carving.
Okay.
And then this one here, I told you that one of our carvers came back and he was disappointed because a lot of the others didn't have any names. But this is his piece, and his name was Ricky Smith.
Okay.
Now, did you meet any of the Smiths?
Just jail.
Oh, no. Okay, so, but apparently they've got a website, www.smithvarno.nuhaka, with all sorts of pictures and stuff that he's cribbed from a lot of us from books that have been written. But Ricky Smith, he was one of the carvers, and he was, his great-grandfather was brother to Naniaya. And that's the link, you know. Mm-hmm. And so, but he was a captain in the Maori battalion, and he was arrogant and everything else. Mm-hmm. And but he went around and arbitrarily named a lot of the other carvings that weren't named. We had a meeting here with all the kaumātua of the area. He said, "What do you think about these names?" Some of them they disagreed with him. And he said, well, I'll wait for you to send it back to him. And he didn't. He just said, no, these are the names. So we live with them. But anyway, this one here was his carving. And a lot of people say, oh, that's Pike here, you know, because they know
The
that's
whale,
the story of the whale. But the tohunga, the high priest on the Take Timu canoe that brought the people over from Hawaii, it was just full of priests, no women. And they never had any cooked food on the waka or anything. And it came through without any problems to New Zealand, eh? And it stopped off in Tahiti and Rarotonga and places like that. And they can't, but they were all priests, all priests on the Take Timu canoe. And he was the head chief, a head priest. And he had what they call the mauri, or the essence of the sea. And if they came up to any trouble, he would do a karakia, you know, have it free and so on. And these whales would come up on either side of the waka and guide them through the storms and everything else. So they sailed quite freely to New Zealand. And so this is who Ricky Smith carved. Ruawharo was a great priest. Ruawharo had the power over the sea. When he came here, he planted, I think, his 3 daughters, one out at Mahia, down towards Napier, and this whole area was good for seafood. They had whaling and sealing and so on, but a lot of the kaimona, that's why we have to watch. They sit at their place and watch all these other boats coming in, killing all the seafood around the area, right?
That's nice to know there was a real whale. When you go past the marae and go home, you see they've got a tin.
Yeah, and that's called Ruawharo, because he settled there at Oraka, at that beach there. When the Take Timu canoe came around and circumnavigated the whole of New Zealand, came down, and when it landed at Mahia, there at Oraka, show them Oraka, when they landed there, he disembarked and he stayed there. He lived there, and that's why the marae is built there. So he settled and married somebody there, and so that's where that's where Ruawharo is. And we know that's Ruawharo because we can look at the whale and we said, oh yes, he had the essence over the sea. He had, and I suppose he was like a marine biologist, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he knew all about it. And then, of course, over here,